Imagine you are sitting in a classroom as a small child. The room is quiet, except for the sound of the teacher's voice. Suddenly, the teacher announces a pop quiz. Your heart begins to race. Your palms feel damp and cold. You are not just worried about a grade. You are terrified of looking foolish in front of your friends. You feel like your entire personality is being judged in that single moment. When you finally realize your name was not called, the relief is overwhelming. You survive another day by staying invisible. Many of us carry this exact feeling into our adult lives. We sit in business meetings or family dinners with a question on our tongue, but we never let it out. We tell ourselves to just stay quiet and ask someone else later. This silence is not just a personal habit. It is a sign of a much deeper problem in the places where we work and live. We are often more afraid of looking inadequate than we are interested in finding the truth. This fear of being judged creates a wall between what we know and what we say. We live in a world where being right is valued more than being honest. This sets the stage for a dangerous way of existing, where our silence can lead to mistakes that are far more serious than a bad grade on a quiz. We see this play out in some of the biggest tragedies of our time. Think about the engineers working at nuclear plants or the managers designing airplanes. These are people with years of training and deep knowledge. Yet, in moments of crisis, they often find themselves facing a culture of yelling and threats. When a senior manager tries to warn their bosses that a project is moving too fast or that workers are burning out, they are often pushed aside. When the top leaders refuse to listen, the result can be measured in lost lives. It is a heavy reality to face. We often think that big disasters happen because of bad technology or simple bad luck. But if we look closer, we find that these disasters usually start with a person who was too afraid to speak up. On the surface, this is a concept scientists call psychological safety. It is the simple belief that you will not be punished or embarrassed for sharing an idea or admitting a mistake. It sounds like common sense. Why would anyone want to work in a place where they feel humiliated? Yet, in reality, this safety is very rare. Most people assume that if they speak up with a concern, they will be labeled as a troublemaker or someone who is not a team player. We have a hidden assumption that leadership is about having all the answers and keeping everyone in line. We think that a strong leader is someone who is never wrong. This belief creates a massive distortion of reality. If you are a leader and you think you are always right, your team will stop telling you the truth. They will laugh at your bad jokes and agree with your worst plans just to stay safe. You might feel great inside your office, thinking everything is fine, but outside those walls, the ship might be sinking. We assume that fear is a good motivator. We think that if people are afraid of failing, they will work harder. But fear does not make people smarter. It makes them hide. It leads to people faking numbers and checking boxes just to win awards, even while accidents are happening right in front of them. This creates a structural pattern that we can call the whack-a-mole culture. Imagine that fun arcade game where a little plastic mole pops its head out of a hole and you hit it with a hammer to get points. In many workplaces, ideas are treated like those moles. An employee voices an opinion or points out a problem, and they immediately get a metaphorical whack in the head. Maybe it is a public criticism in a meeting or a cold shoulder from the boss. After 1 or 2 hits, the employee learns their lesson. They keep their head down. They stop suggesting new ways to do things. When hundreds of people in an organization are all keeping their heads down, innovation stops completely. The structure of fear becomes a predictor of failure. Scientific evidence shows us that the most successful teams are not the ones with the smartest people, but the ones with the highest levels of safety. Teams that feel safe are more creative and better at learning from their errors. To fix this, we have to reframe our entire perspective on failure and learning. We need to stop seeing mistakes as a reason for punishment and start seeing them as a laboratory for growth. Think about a university project. If students are only worried about getting a bad grade, they will play it safe. They will do the bare minimum to get by. But if you guarantee them that as long as they are creative and honest, they will get a fair grade, the tension fades away. Suddenly, they are willing to take risks. They go the extra mile because they have a safety net. This reframing allows us to move from a culture of blame to a culture of curiosity. Instead of asking who did this, we start asking how did this happen and how can we prevent it next time. It is a shift from pointing fingers to solving puzzles together. This is not about being nice all the time or giving everyone a free pass. Psychological safety actually requires a lot of courage. It means being open to discomfort and being willing to hear things that might hurt your ego. It is about building a system that values the truth more than the hierarchy. We can apply this insight to our daily lives and our families. Think about the children or teenagers in your own home. Do they feel safe enough to come to you with their mistakes or their fears? Or do they feel like they will get whacked in the head for being honest? Creating a safe household means letting our kids know that they have a safe harbor to land in whenever they are confused. It means listening more than we lecture. When we foster this environment at home, we are helping our families develop better mental health and stronger connections. In our communities and our workplaces, we can start by observing the silence. The next time you are in a meeting and no one has a question, ask yourself why. Is it because everything is perfect? Or is it because the troublemakers have already been targeted? We can change this by modeling the behavior we want to see. If you are in charge, admit when you don't know the answer. Ask your team for their honest feedback and then actually thank them for giving it. Consistency is the key. You cannot build safety overnight with one speech. You build it through 1,000 small interactions where you prove that you are a safe person to talk to. We must remember that a bad system will beat a good person every time. If we want better results, we have to design better systems that encourage people to speak. We are all searching for meaningful human connections, and those connections cannot grow in the soil of fear. When we create spaces where vulnerability is respected, we unlock the full potential of every person in the room. We save lives, we save ideas, and we save ourselves from the isolation of power blindness. It is a journey that starts with the brave choice to listen and the humble choice to be wrong. By doing this, we turn our classrooms, our offices, and our homes into places where everyone can finally breathe and contribute their best work. If you were to walk into your next group meeting and admit to one thing you are currently unsure about, how do you think the people around you would react?